This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. On your mark, get set, go. Yes, they are off. We are live this morning on Mount Hood for the start of the much anticipated Hood to Coast
Easy,
relay.
Brenda, easy.
Hey, I'm not the one running. I'm just giving them some good vibes this morning. A lot has changed. You remember last year, everything was virtual because of the pandemic. Well, this year, about 13,000 runners will have to wear a mask because of state COVID mandates, but the race is on. You guys, they have been out there since 2:30. They're running and starting in waves. This is a 200-mile relay that winds its way from Portland, and it winds its way from Timberline down to Portland and then on to Seaside. We're going to be checking in on what's happening all throughout the morning, so stay tuned for that.
Looks chilly out there too, doesn't it? Yeah. Also coming up on Sunrise, as cases continue to rise here in Oregon, there is some optimism in Washington over COVID-19. Vaccinations are rising over 20%, so we're going to find out why.
Plus, we look at how the local VA is working to support veterans in the area. Many find themselves overwhelmed by the latest developments in the Middle East.
And I would say to those veterans, it's actually a sign of strength to recognize that you have a need for help and then to follow through and reach out for that help.
And support grows for marginalized identities, with a hillside display in Newburgh getting another giant flag. It's all in view of a school where identity and political flags were banned. Why some in the community say this is about supporting kids, not dividing them.
Happy Friday, everybody. We have a lot going on. We also have our Bryant Clerkley out at the State Fair, so stay tuned for that. You mentioned the cool temperatures.
Oh, yeah. It looked cold out there. They were
Yes.
trying to stay warm.
I did that live shot several years back. Never again. It was so cold that morning. It's 40 at Timberline right now, but the east wind is gusting about 20. So it must feel like it's about 35, 36.
Yikes.
Oh, that's cold enough.
Yeah. All right, here's a look at radar. Reminder, you can still find a dab of moisture. We've got a few showers trying to feed toward the coast this morning. Dabs of rain over the coast range, and there's a dab of rain along 26 where the runners will be descending down the west slope of the Cascades a little bit later this morning. And it does appear on the ODOT camera up in the Welch's rhododendron area that highway is a little wet from some morning moisture. Mostly cloudy but dry over downtown. We're at 64, very comfortable temperature here in the city to start your day. An early rain chance, otherwise quickly becoming no rain chance, and mostly sunny. 76 degrees today's expected high temperature.
All right, Rod, thank you. Evacuations are continuing in Afghanistan less than 24 hours after 2 deadly suicide bombings right outside the Kabul airport.
And President Joe Biden promises to track down the terrorists responsible and says they will not stop airlifts out of the region. The attacks at the airport and a nearby hotel were among the deadliest in the 20 years U.S. troops have been there on the ground in Afghanistan. More than 60 civilians were killed, at least 13 American soldiers are dead, and more than a dozen are hurt. ISIS claimed responsibility for what it calls the martyrdom operation.
The threat from ISIS is extremely real. We expect those attacks to continue, and we're doing everything we can to be prepared for those attacks.
It's just terrible. Now, the White House says around 7,500 people were evacuated in the 12-hour period after those attacks. The president says he'll stick to his August 31st deadline, leaving just 4 days to get civilians, close to 6,000 troops, and military equipment out of Afghanistan.
Well, the news out of Afghanistan is especially difficult and frustrating for veterans. Many disagree with how the U.S. is withdrawing from the country. Catherine Cook spoke to a vet who fought in Afghanistan, and he has a message for others who served.
We should have had a more solid plan if we were going to exit.
Jerry Glessman is a retired command sergeant major with the Oregon Army National Guard. He served in Afghanistan from 2007 to 2008, part of a specialty unit tasked with training Afghans to curb the country's drug trade. He patrolled the Helmand province, survived an IED explosion, and remembers one Taliban attack in particular.
About a 4.5 hour firefight ensued, which we prevailed.
All that to say, seeing what's unfolding in Afghanistan now is hard for Glessman, and he knows he's not alone.
You know, if you're a veteran, you should be reaching out. If you're doing good, you should be reaching out to your battle buddies and checking in on them. In fact, I just received this afternoon a phone call from the VFW, which was pretty cool. And he had a whole list of folks that he was going to reach out to.
Because in the military, we learned that we need to take care of the buddy to the left of us and the buddy to the right of us, just like family.
Kelly Fitzpatrick is director of the Oregon Department of Veterans Affairs. Her first concern was how vets might be triggered by the news in Kabul. Not only those who served in Afghanistan, but other wars, like Vietnam.
And I would say to those veterans, it's actually a sign of strength to recognize that you have a need for help and then to follow through and reach out for that help.
Fitzpatrick hopes that veterans who need help will reach out to any of the multiple resources available to them. Here are two. The Veterans Crisis Line. That number is 1-800-273-8255. Also, Lines for Life has a military helpline. That number is 888-457-4838. Despite what's happening now and the frustration and anger it may trigger, Glessman has one final message.
For those folks that are veterans of Afghanistan, we served there for 20 years. Know this, we have prevented terrorist attacks on our homeland.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
All right, the time is 5:06, and let's get to three things to know about COVID right now. Number one, more people in Washington are getting vaccinated. Health officials think statewide mask and vaccination mandates are part of why. They say the vaccination rate this week is 21% higher than last week and 34% higher than the week before that. Number two, with the outdoor mask mandate now in effect, the Oregon State Parks Department is asking visitors to wear a mask at crowded viewpoints, trailheads, and other areas where it's difficult to space out. This applies to everyone 5 years and older, regardless of vaccination status. And number three, if you plan on going to a concert at Edge Field on the lawn, you'll have to show proof of vaccination. That rule goes into effect next Tuesday, August 31st. You'll need to show proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test in the last 72 hours. Everyone must also be masked at all times except when eating and drinking. And those are three things to know about COVID right now.
We have an update now on the controversy in Newburgh after the school board there banned what it called political flags earlier this month. So just to catch up on all of this, if you haven't been following it closely, the ban includes Pride and Black Lives Matter or any other slogans the board thought could be divisive. Many in the community have spoken out, saying sexual orientation and racial identity are not political. To protest that ban, a couple who lives in Newburgh got folks together to build a giant pride flag on their property overlooking Newburgh High School. And yesterday, people doubled down. About 20 got together to build a similar flag with the Black Lives Matter logo.
When members of a marginalized population ask you for help, you just say yes.
Black kids in rural areas need to know that they actually have support.
I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm trying to show love and support of the members of these communities. If it makes you angry, it's not for you, so don't look at it.
The school superintendent says the ban cannot take effect until lawyers review it. The ACLU of Oregon has threatened to sue, saying the ban is unconstitutional.
And I've got a picture of that final product on Twitter if you want to look that up too. Now, a local group wants violence to stop in Portland, gathering in Pioneer Courthouse Square to take a stand. Build Portland Better hosted its Stop the Violence rally to raise awareness of violence around the city. Portland has already had more homicides this year than all of last year. And it's also on track to pass the 1987 record of 70.
This is a one-year campaign, a movement that we're going to be partnering with our different community partners to make a difference in our community and to stop the violence. A lot has been going on, but people, there's hope.
There were some special guests like DJ OG1, the official DJ for the Trailblazers, and performances by local music artists and comedians, all with the same mission to end violence across Portland.
Experts say Oregon is becoming less resilient to drought, and that may never end. I mean, think about that. The Capitol Press talked with a climatologist at Oregon State University who said about 3/4 of Oregon is experiencing conditions considered extreme or exceptional. We're not seeing as much snow and rain during the wet season, and that could prevent Oregon from bouncing back from these dry conditions. Last week, the governors of Oregon and Washington joined 8 other governors around the country asking the president to issue a major disaster declaration because of the drought. Okay, we want to take you back up to Timberline, where Hood to Coast, the relay, kicked off just about 10 minutes ago at 5 o'clock sharp. Photographer Ken McCormick is out there filming all of this for us, bringing us the live shot and getting some video for later. There are some COVID safety measures in place because there are 13,000 people total taking place. The runners do have to wear their masks, but look at them. They're there in the staging area and they are ready to go.
Yes, it looks kind of chilly. It was damp also across the area. I know.
Yeah.
We were just talking about drought, though, Rod. It's obviously been kind of a rough summer in that sense.
Yeah.
Where are we now with the moisture situation?
Let me start with the big picture, and then I'll give it the local angle to answer your question. So here's a map from the National Weather Service, and basically just a couple quick, easy points to make. Number one, nearly all of the West is expecting current drought conditions to absolutely continue through the month of November, and that includes all these areas colored in brown. So a couple of things, interestingly enough, no drought conditions when you get up into the heart of the the Cascades up in Washington. No drought conditions along the western portion of Washington. Now here in the Willamette Valley, and especially to the Coast Range and the coast itself, drought conditions expected to improve somewhat in the coming months. And all that says is that, hey, our rainy season's coming, and you would assume we would start getting some rain in the coming months. But generally speaking, across Oregon as a whole and eastern Washington, not seeing any improvement notable through the fall months of November. Okay, so Portland, we are now at 26.46 inches of rain. That goes back to the water year starting October 1st. That's approaching 9 inches deficit. So that's a couple big fat winter months of rain short, if you will. Total since April, this is the big story here, only 2.28 inches. Remember, that sets up the driest spring-summer combo on record. Remember, it just stopped raining. We had a good winter last winter here in the northwestern Oregon, and then just stopped raining April 1, remember? All right, Futurecast 8:30 this morning shows a few specks of rain around. That pretty much is over by noon. We clear out this afternoon. Here are your temperatures out the door. It's going to be a nice day. 62 degrees in Salem right now, 60 up in Kelso, and our forecast numbers look like this. 77 this afternoon, becoming sunny. Sunny and 80s all weekend long. And then still looking at that cooler weather to return on Monday with a chance of maybe a trace of rain. That music means I must shut up now. We'll be back after this.